Ekiti Economic and Development Summit, the facilitator of the summit, the please step forward to cover.
Good morning, everybody. Wherever I just got from Secretary Academy, the Power Excellence, the wife of the governor, his ex-Bolaji and I'm the facilitator for this. It is never too late to start. So this is where we will try and make sure that all of you have a copy of the program. Just to give program to those who do not have it. Assuming that you have the program, we take to the program within the time that we have.
Over and over, that Ekiti has no business with poverty. Looking at the great endowments and potentials at our disposal. When we mobilized our political machinery for a place in the political firmament, we were clear in our mission to put poverty to flight in this land. When, by the grace of God, we reclaimed our mandate and got to the saddle of governance, our resolve to make poverty history became more emboldened by the clearer picture of the massive opportunities that dot the landscape of Ekiti. It is therefore not a cheap campaign to declare with all vigor that what Ekiti offers in terms of dividends on investment is uniquely better than what obtained in other climates. Elementary economics tells us that man primarily ventures to business to make profit. In making profit, an averagely successful business person prefers where the ratio of investment to profit is lower. That exactly is the difference between investment in Ekiti and other places. As you're probably aware, this state parades probably the highest number of graduates in various fields per capita. The indigenes of the state are well educated. The search for knowledge is a pride to us. The manpower for your industry or business concern is available in quantity and quality. In essence, you have access to affordable labor to a large extent. Since the advent of this administration in October 2010, there has been prevailing peace all over the state. This comely atmosphere becomes better understood when viewed against the political instability in the state previously. This, to be candid, is a function of the legitimacy of this administration that also enjoys the goodwill of the people. From the length and breadth of the state, this government is a government where everybody has a stake. Besides, our people are generally hospitable. They love visitors and have an unassailable history of protecting their visitors even at the risk of sacrificing their own lives. You all know the story of our hero, Colonel Ado-Ekiti, who had to lay down his life in order to protect his guest, the late Major General Ado-Ekiti, in Ibadan in 1966. Let me emphasize that that incident was not an isolated case. It is the Ekiti spirit that is still working in us. In spite of the security challenges in many parts of the country, Ekiti is relatively secure. The state government has continued to support all the security agencies with vehicles, communication gadgets, and in so many other areas to ensure an effective policing and law enforcement regime. Recently, a crime detection system located within our police command headquarters and some other designated divisional police offices was launched here by the Inspector General of Police himself. It may interest you to know that the major policy thrust of this administration is to establish enduring institutional framework upon which its programs are anchored. The Right Honourable Speaker already made reference to a couple of laws that have been put in place to entrench that institutional framework. The Public-Private Partnership Law, the Fiscal Responsibility Law, and of course the domestication of the Freedom of Information Law in Ekiti State. We are of course also aware that the state has approached the capital market where we're trying to raise 25 billion naira in order to focus on regenerative activities in the area of infrastructure and development. As should like, we have not even formally reached the floors of the Security and Exchange Commission. Is very heartwarming indeed. It may interest you to also hear from me that that bond, as we speak, is probably oversubscribed. In demonstrating our clear and honest intentions, particularly in attracting investors, those laws that I mentioned have been passed. The structures are also being put in place right now. The state has already established a public-private partnership office with the Director General appointed to help investors and interested business people who really want to partake in the goodies that are available in Ekiti State. The economy has also been further boosted by the large presence of financial institutions doing businesses in the state. This ranges from banks, insurance companies, to stockbrokers, among others. As a matter of fact, the Central Bank of Nigeria has an office in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital now. For many of the opportunities in the states, the raw materials are readily available in large quantities. But in building these institutions and establishing the framework for investment in the state, we are also aware of our limitations. We know that it is not our business to get entangled in business directly. And to this extent, we have decided as a state to set up a special purpose vehicle that will help us in all our relationships with private investors in Ekiti State. That special purpose vehicle is called the Fountain Holdings Limited. And I'm glad to inform the audience that when Professor Aliko was reading the message, it was about a message to inaugurate the board of the Fountain Holdings Limited. Many of the members are here, I should say, that Mr. Benga has gladly accepted to chair the board of the Fountain Holdings Limited. The opportunities that abound are in various degrees and dimensions. They cut across all sectors: agriculture, agro-processing, fishery, poultry, small livestock, forestry and afforestation, food processing, packaging and marketing, timber extraction and primary processing sector, high potential returns in timber sector coordination and upgrade, combined with conservation and renewal of still significant forest resources, provision of storage facilities. These, in the agroforestry and in the agri sector, are not new. Majority of them can be found on the list that Mr. Boye read about the 2008 summit. And I have read the documents emanating from the 2000 summit which was chaired by Prince Ado-Ekiti, and many of these issues were highlighted there as well. So we are not reinventing the wheel. The information about the potential opportunities in Ekiti are clear. What we are doing is impressing it upon you that on the basis of returns for your investment and value, the time is now to get involved in Ekiti State. In the tourism sector, of course, we've heard of the Cold and Warm Springs Complex, which is currently being refurbished by us, and some value addition is also being achieved. The traditional sites, our caves, our mountains, our palaces, the tourism infrastructure, which is nothing to write home about yet in the state, because our hotels are few and far between, and the ones that are there don't really have a lot to write home about, as you must have experienced staying in many of those hotels now. That's what informed my decision that the original Fountain Hotel should return to its status and not remain as governance organization. But there are still several opportunities for those who want to get involved in the hospitality industry. Even with that hotel being put back to its original use, we still will not have adequate hotel facilities in the state. So for those who really want a quick return on investment, that sector certainly offers you a huge opportunity. Of course, the solid mineral sector is one that we've talked about repeatedly. If you go around the state, you can literally pick granite and marble on the streets, but we haven't really achieved much value addition there. The quarry business is huge there, but we have no investors as yet, although that's changing. A few people are expressing renewed interest in the quarry and real estate business. Education and training services. I'm glad that the Vice Chancellor of Ado-Ekiti University spoke earlier. And as one of our largest employers in the state, we of course must commend Ado-Ekiti University for the investment they made in turning Ekiti into a destination of choice as far as education and training is concerned. I've had cause to say it elsewhere that I believe Ekiti should be the Massachusetts of Nigeria, because we have what it takes in terms of intellectual capacity to have several qualitative private sectors around the world. And that's our vision, that's our commitment to education, and that is what the government will do. Healthcare services also offer huge opportunities. But there are possible challenges. Clearly, the state body mentioned the state of the global economy, and anyone who is aware of the state of the global economy will know that there are huge challenges. Europe is in a crisis. The United States of America is in the doldrums. That's precisely what recommends Nigeria at this point in time. For those who are not risk-averse, to move in here and make money. Because when you look at the economic indicators, very few countries are doing 7-8% in their growth rate, with even possibility of double digits in the nearest future. And if you have a place where that can happen, particularly in the agri, in the tourism and solid mineral sector, it is certainly in Ekiti State. And the Nigerian national economy, of which Ekiti State is an integral part, is susceptible to many of the shocks and alternative variables too. Our main challenges are in the area of poor power supply and bad road network. You will agree that these are national problems, but we don't want that to react to ensure that good supply on our road network and our power supply. In the last 1 month, we have awarded contracts on about 10 roads, which would commence as soon as the rains disappear in the next couple of weeks, because we know that this is a critical component of enticing and interesting you in what is going on here in Ekiti. And of course, if you are a regular visitor to Ekiti, you would have already noticed improvements in the road network, especially if you come via the Lagos-Ibadan inter-ore axis. As can be seen, the available opportunities in Ekiti for investment with the assurance of profit far outweigh the limitating factors. I want to stress the willingness of the government to continue to provide the enabling environment for businesses to be successfully conducted. Part of the incentives the state government is offering are periods of moratorium, early issuance of land documents, including the certificate of occupancy, among others. I therefore wish to call on you to take the opportunities that are available and do your business in a fertile land. It may encourage you to note, and that partly explains why we have dubbed this an economic and development summit, because we know that there are also development partners that are interested in the Ekiti project and are keen to use Ekiti as a model for development in other places. And this is what has informed our relationship in the last year of coming to office with bodies such as the DFID, the Department for International Development in the UK, the World Bank, the UNDP, European Union, USAID, some of which already closed shop in Ekiti State in the recent past, but are now fully back in the circuit because of the prevailing encouraging environment. Many of them are here in this hall today. This is a pointer that any investment in Ekiti State is a right and worthwhile decision on the part of the investor. It is on this note that I wish to present the opportunity of Ekiti land to you for conversion to productive economic ventures. Thank you.